I never thought the sound of a lighter could flip my entire life upside down. But that day, standing on the shoulder of a coastal highway, I learned how fast things can turn. 1 second, I was just another guy enjoying a rare, quiet afternoon. The next, I was watching a uniformed officer grin while flames crawled across something I'd worked my whole life to earn. And the craziest part, he thought I was powerless. Yeah, that's where he messed up. Let me rewind a bit. The drive was supposed to be nothing special, just me and the road, salt in the air, sun bouncing off the water, the kind of peace you don't notice until it's gone. I'd taken time off, real time, off something I almost never do. No deadlines, no pressure, just the low growl of the engine and my thoughts drifting. You know that feeling when life finally lets you breathe. That was me right up until a patrol car cut across the lane without warning and metal kissed metal in the worst possible way. It wasn't a major crash. A scrape, really. Expensive, sure, but manageable. I pulled over immediately, engine off, hands visible, calm on the outside, because that's what years of being judged teaches you. The officer stepped out slow, deliberate, like he already didn't like me. His name badge said, Officer Cole Turner. Thick jaw, sunburned face, that look some people get when they think authority means ownership. He didn't apologize, didn't even acknowledge the hit. Just stared at the car, then at me, then back at the car like it personally offended him. License and registration, he said, voice flat, eyes cold. I handed them over, steady, polite. He glanced at my name. What do you do for a living, Marcus? He asked, dragging it out. Music sports. I smiled, small. Consulting, I said. That answer always confused people. He laughed under his breath. Not amused, more like annoyed. Then he pointed at the damage and said I'd been following too close. It was so obviously false it almost felt like a test. I corrected him calmly, mentioned my dash cam. Nothing aggressive, just facts. That's when his face changed. Something dark slid into place. You telling me how to do my job? He snapped. You think that car makes you special? I could feel it shifting. That familiar pressure in the air when logic leaves and ego takes over. His partner, younger, quieter, stayed back, eyes darting like he wanted no part of this. I tried to keep it neutral. I'm just stating what happened, I said. Turner didn't like that. Not one bit. He walked back to his cruiser and popped the trunk. I assumed ticket book, maybe paperwork. Instead, he pulled out a red gas can. That's when my stomach dropped. You don't expect that, not from someone wearing a badge. His partner spoke up finally. Cole, don't, he said, half whisper, half panic. Turner ignored him, twisted the cap and started pouring gasoline across the hood. The smell hit first. Strong, sharp, unmistakable. Cars passed by, drivers pretending not to see. Turner leaned in close enough that I could smell his breath. People like you need reminders, he muttered. Then he flicked the lighter. The fire went up fast, a loud whoosh, heat slapping my face. Paint, bubbled glass, cracked everything I'd built, going up in seconds. Turner smiled like he'd won something, like he expected me to yell, swing, do anything that would justify what he wanted next. I didn't move. I just stood there watching, feeling something inside me go very quiet. See, here's the thing. I've spent most of my life being underestimated, looked at and judged before I spoke, followed in stores, questioned for no reason. You learn early how to survive that. You learn control. And when that fire burned, the part of me that wanted peace stepped aside and the part that keeps records woke up. I noticed the traffic camera on the pole. The delivery truck stopped behind us. My dash cam still recording. Turner didn't notice any of that. He was too busy enjoying the moment. He asked if I had anything to say now. I reached into my pocket, pulled out my phone, not to film, not to call for help. I made one call. It connected instantly. No ring. Just a click. I said a few words, low, calm words that don't mean anything to most people but mean everything to the right ones. I ended the call before the sirens even started. Firefighters arrived, foam everywhere, smoke drifting. Turner snapped back into cop mode, chest out, voice loud. He started asking me questions like nothing had happened already, building a story in his head. A malfunction, an accident, bad wiring. I could see it forming behind his eyes. He thought this was done. It wasn't. What Turner didn't know was that within minutes people far away were watching what he'd done from angles he couldn't imagine. Traffic footage, satellite feeds, bystander phones. His report, when he filed it later, didn't stand a chance. He wrote about smoke before the fire. There was none. Wrote about trying to protect the area with gasoline. Physics doesn't work that way. Someone anonymously sent everything to Internal Affairs. Not a complaint, a full breakdown. Video synced to timestamps. Audio clear as day. The investigator assigned to it, a guy named Daniel Reed, was one of the few who still believed the badge meant something. He watched the footage once then, again slower. By the third time, he looked sick. Turner's partner cracked first. Faced with video with his own voice contradicting the report he folded. Told the truth. About the rage, the slurs, the pressure to lie. Years of buried complaints came spilling out. Patterns no one wanted to see, suddenly impossible to ignore. The department tried to flip it on me, of course. Asked how I could afford the car. Leaked questions to friendly reporters. Suggested I was suspiciously calm, that I didn't react like a normal victim. Funny how dignity makes people uncomfortable. Then came the deposition. Turner walked in, confident, smirking, repeating his story like he'd practiced it in the mirror. The lawyer across from him let him talk, let him stack lie on lie. Then she played the video. Full screen. No cuts, no excuses. I watched his face drain of color as he realized the truth had teeth. When she asked if that was him pouring gasoline, he snapped. He deserved it, he yelled. Thought he was better than everyone. The room went silent. Confession recorded. Game over. The fallout was immediate. Charges. Arson. Assault. False reporting. Bias enhancement. The union dropped him like he'd never existed. Trial didn't take long. The jury saw what we all saw. Guilty. Sentenced. 7 years. Watching him led away in cuffs felt surreal. Not victory. Closure, maybe. The city settled the civil case quietly. Money I didn't care about. What mattered came with it. Resignations. Oversight. Changes they'd avoided for years. Systems finally forced to look at themselves. People ask me if it was worth it. Losing the car, the peace, being dragged into something so ugly. I think about that sometimes. About how close I was to just driving away from that life forever. But then I think about how many people never get a camera, never get proof, never get believed. So I used the settlement to build something new. Legal help, data tracking, support for witnesses too scared to speak. A way to make sure the next person doesn't stand alone on the side of the road watching their world burn. I didn't win because I was powerful. I won because I stayed calm, paid attention, and refused to shrink. And maybe that's the part that scares people the most. Now, I want to hear from you. Was justice served here, or did the system only work because everything lined up perfectly? Have you ever seen someone abused by authority and felt afraid to say anything? Drop your thoughts in the comments, share your experience, and let's talk about where the line between power and accountability really is.